this is an opportunity, like we need to collectively take advantage of it. Go for someone who's got the money, basically. Go for the decision maker. So one client can turn into two clients can turn into four can turn into 8, just by asking. Yeah, we actually registered, I think, somewhere in the region of like 560,000 people for a live event to launch Alex's second book in the 100 million series, which was 100 million leads.
You were kind of the mastermind architect behind this whole thing, weren't you? Ladies and gents, I have with me a very, very special guest. Last time on this channel, I interviewed Alex Hormozi. Today, we have the absolute privilege of getting to interview someone I've known for a little while, the marketing genius behind Alex Hormozi, as many have described him as. This guy has accolades more than I can possibly name. He has worked with some of the fastest growing startups in the last 5 years and currently very heavily involved in the AI space, entrepreneurship space, currently in the space. And Tobias Allen, it's an absolute honor to get to chat with you. You landed quite a hefty whale as a client, as a freelance copywriter. Mr. Alex Hormozi, how did that come about?
So,
how you doing, man?
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited for this. So for the last 2 years, I was the director of marketing for a company called acquisition.com.
It's a small startup, in case you guys haven't heard of it.
It's an amazing company. It's super amazing entrepreneurs. We took that business to a decent level. A notable achievement was probably helping launch a book called 100 Million Leads. Like, I did numerous things for that, but again, a notable thing would probably be the affiliate program. So help scale an affiliate program to about 29,000 people within 6 weeks.
I'm familiar with this program.
Yeah, you were one of the top affiliates.
Yes.
And then about 4 months ago, I decided to leave. And in the last 3 months, I started work for a creator platform as the CMO. We've just raised 20 million. And within the last 3 months, brought on around 46,000 creators. And it's potentially one of the fastest growing startups in the UK and maybe even Europe, or maybe even the world. So it's going pretty well.
The guy doesn't like to brag, but as you can see, he's fairly qualified to be here. And this is definitely one of the most exciting guests I've had so far. So, dude, today's going to be awesome. We've got 1 hour of power. I want to milk you for as much knowledge as I possibly can in this time. So you got eons of stuff to unpack in that brain of yours. I want to start with the beginning.
Yeah.
Like all good stories. So if you can take us back, how did you even get involved in this world of entrepreneurship, copywriting? I've watched some of your other podcasts before, and obviously we've met. You were in my program for a while. How did you go from, I think you were studying, you wanted to be a doctor.
Yep.
And then you got into wine. Yep. And then you got into copywriting.
Yeah.
It's a pretty elaborate journey. If you can just sort of give us the cliff notes there of like, how did you get involved in this world?
Yeah. So study of advertising started when I couldn't get a job. So I was just trying to solve my own problem. And at the time, for whatever reason, I thought that if I could write a good advertisement, I could write a good CV, because I viewed a CV as an ad for yourself. And so the truth is I got very lucky. I found 2 books in a charity shop, Dan Kennedy's The Ultimate Sales Letter, and then a lesser known book called Direct Marketing by a guy called Drayton Bird. Mm-hmm. Essentially, one was how to write copy. The other one was how to manage databases. And the odds of them being next to each other, just completely random. But I started writing CVs to try and land a job. And I had a copywriting book in front of me, and I churned out probably 20 plus CVs. Some of them are a little bit entertaining. I wrote a CV to a 5-star hotel, which my family still takes the piss out of, because it was like a sales letter. So I had, the headline was something like, imagine the smile on your boss's face when you hire Tobias. And I had testimonials from teachers that I threw in there. And I said that like I could swim in the swimming pool, and the benefit of that was I would be better able to like sell the guests on why they should come. Like, it flopped, but it was creative.
You're memorable.
It was memorable, which is a lesson in of itself when it comes to advertising. What happened was the product, me, didn't change, but I got better at writing to the point that business owners started to call back. And I was eventually like, I eventually got a job through that. And at that point I was hooked. And so the point I learned how to like write something that got a response, that was when I went down that kind of like copywriting rabbit hole. And it snowballed. So as mentioned, like thought I wanted to be a doctor, dropped out of a biomed degree 3 months in, didn't know what I was going to do, then ended up doing a wine degree.
As you do.
It was a 3-day wine course, and like it was great weather in the UK at the time. There was some beautiful women on the course and just good wine. And then at the end of it, they had a really good sales pitch of saying you can do this for 3 years. So I flipped a coin.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. I flipped a coin. The options were, do I do this or do I not do it? And within like 2 weeks, I'd enrolled, and
like head.
Yeah, basically.
Flip it again.
Yeah. And then while I was studying wine, that was when I was again, just like I had a fierce passion for marketing. Like I was always the one kind of coming up with weird ideas on how to promote the wine and like an element of showmanship, and helped a number of wine startups alongside businesses at the time. And it just kind of kept snowballing.
Yeah, super cool. So then from that, from wanting to be a doctor, getting into this wine world,
Yeah.
a 3-year side quest,
Yep.
coming back into advertising and marketing. Clearly that's something you had a bit of interest in, or a knack for probably as well. How did that turn into freelance copywriting?
Yeah. So being blunt, I wanted to make money. And
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, the wine world's incredible, full of some of the most amazing people you'll probably ever meet, in my biased opinion. Problem is, not many people make money in wine, at least from what I could tell. If anything, the people who had money in wine had made money elsewhere and then went back into wine to just spend it. So chased money, and advertising was the method to do so. That was when went on like a ferocious hunt for clients as well. Actually, when I think I got introduced to you, like CMB, like I had a problem, which was I could close a lot of clients, but sometimes the value of those contracts wasn't actually that good. And so the promise of your coaching was how to land higher ticket clients. And that was predominantly what I was interested in. I knew I had the skills. I just wanted to know how to like negotiate better and like raise my prices.
Yeah. So like how had you been learning copywriting up until that point? Because back then we're talking, this was 2019, something like that.
Yeah, maybe even earlier. The answer was books. I read all of those like old dusty copywriting manuals or advertising manuals. I've still got them in my car. I became a bit of a collector, and like books that most people would never like even touch, and potentially copywriters you've never heard of. I know copywriters might hear like Claude Hopkins or Clyde Bedell, David Ogilvy, like
Schwartz,
yeah,
Boring Letters, that sort of stuff.
Basically, like I read all those books, and then I did the typical like handwrite the old advertising. Just tried learning from studying stuff that had worked potentially hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, so you just studied the OGs, self-made, self-taught, study, that sort of stuff, old school.
Yeah.
Super cool. And before you were introduced to me, you'd already managed to land a couple dozen clients, right?
Yeah.
That's something that most copywriters struggle with a lot.
Yeah.
I've been coaching copywriters 7 or 8 years now, so I know that's the number one thing most of them struggle with is client acquisition. Most of them, it's interesting. It's like this dichotomy because they're great at selling other people's products and services, but when it comes to selling themselves, they can't sell their way out of a paper bag, right? They're awful. And it's kind of ironic, but you obviously figured something out because you were able to land over a dozen clients in your first few months, right?
Yeah.
So what was your approach back then to land clients?
Yeah. So ironically, the same skill set of essentially going for a job interview was the exact same skill set I needed to like land appointments with business owners. So instead of like going for what is it like a traditional job posting, I would just pitch myself, or more specifically pitch the meeting. So like every sale is a series of like micro commitments. And so the first micro commitment that I would always go for is either a response or a reply, or to get someone on a books call. And so that was what I was going for. And then in terms of just achieving that outcome, the same way that I wrote 20 CVs, like unique CVs to each business, I did that. I was doing like 50 plus pitches a day, like custom pitches, potentially doing them a bit differently. So I was always looking for people who had an indication of like they were interested in getting customers or clients, whether they had a job posting out on like Indeed or one of those job websites. Like I could see that they were hiring for something, and then I would use that as an in to either go directly to the business owner and whoever was like the next available contact within the business. Again, always with an objective of getting to the business owner. So like if I could only get the email of the receptionist, I would still email the receptionist, but I would try and find a picture of, let's say, the guy who owned the business. I'd take a screenshot of that and stick it in the header, and big red letters, warning, this message is for this guy. And sometimes I'd be quite cheeky with it. It'd be like, warning, this message is for this handsome guy.
Yeah.
Just to like, again, get attention in a busy inbox. Immediately after that was just a sales pitch. It's like, here's what I can do for you. Here's why like you need it. Quite often I would play around with like, depending on the pitch, a reason why they should respond now. So when I was working within real estate, I remember one of the closes I used to use was, there are 2 reasons why you need to respond right now. Like I'd be quite direct. It'd be like, success like speed. This is an opportunity. Like we need to collectively take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was, if you don't respond to this, I'll go to your competitor next door and give it to them.
Oh yeah.
And
but they love that.
Yeah, they did. Well, maybe they didn't love it, but it was enough.
They appreciated it.
It gave them an impetus to respond to me, because what I was promising was an edge over everyone else in the marketplace, specific to real estate at that time. But like, again, it depended on what the pitch was. And I always tried to be different from everyone else as well. So yeah, I keep a running doc of some of the pitches I made, and I'm telling you, some of them were very cringy. Yeah.
Hey, they did the job, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to read some of those.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Like you viewed it as a funnel essentially, right?
Yeah.
So it's like good old traditional ADA. First step is always getting their attention.
Yeah.
And it's what a lot of people drop the ball is like literally the first step because
Yeah.
you can't get their attention. Nothing else matters. Your offer doesn't matter. The pitch doesn't matter. The guarantee doesn't matter. Nothing matters, right? And so
Yeah.
you manage to get your foot in the door, get your attention. And that's half the game. That's half the battle, right? And the next part is just having a compelling enough offer that they comply, which obviously through all of your copywriting studies, then that's something you would have been pretty good at.
Yeah.
So was this like direct mail
Yeah, so part of it was direct mail. So
or emails or how are you pitching?
everything. So like
Hammer them.
I genuinely, I've spoken about this in the past, but a formula that my dad taught me was the MAN formula: money, authority, and need. Go for someone who's got the money, basically. Go for the decision maker. So the person who has the authority to make the buying decision. Quite often, if you go for the CEO or the top of the hierarchy, even if it's not the right guy, when they refer you to the right guy, that referral means more coming from a CEO than it does from, let's say, like Sally, the receptionist.
Yeah, way more.
So that was always like a filter of who I was going after. And then the final thing is need. Is like I was always trying to find a need that would give me an in. So with real estate, what I would do is I would take a screenshot of someone's Facebook feed, and I would show the comments and likes on it. They were investing quite a lot of money into making like their Facebook page look sexy, but it was getting nowhere. And so I'd quite often use that as a pain point. I was like, did you know you could Facebook's changed their algorithm? If you just ran ads behind this, then it would be different. Or I would just essentially I'd find a need. And so on the direct mail side of things, the need was pretty obvious. A company that is investing in leaflets wants to grow their business, or they just want more customers. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe they don't have enough, or maybe they're just looking to grow. I don't know that.
Yep.
But there's like a behavioral residue from the activities that you can see. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was your offer? Did you have just a standard go-to offer you were pitching everyone, or was it just custom on the fly based on what you noticed they needed? How are you going about the lead gen?
Yeah.
You're sort of just picking businesses at random that popped up in your world somehow organically and going through their funnel, for lack of a better term, and identifying what those opportunities were and just thinking to yourself, oh, I know ads, I can help them with ads.
Yeah.
Was it kind of just random like that, or was it more?
It was very random.
Okay.
So I had some strategy with who I was going out to based on the MAN formula.
Yeah.
But in terms of the offer, it was anything I thought I could get away with. A lot of it was copywriting focused. So even if it was just a question of I can write this leaflet better than you can, that would be what I would approach with. Equally, when I started to learn some Facebook ads, it was I can take this leaflet and distribute it in the local area. Or if I saw a company hiring, the in would be you're clearly needing a marketing person. Let me do this while you're looking for the best candidate. And so it was very opportunistic, and I was just trying to cast a wide net to kind of figure out what I could potentially offer these business owners. Yeah.
So then as you effectively just had these ad hoc packages for each person based on their needs, you didn't have one core offer.
Not at the time. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you come up with the deliverables, the offer, the pricing for your services?
Yeah.
Was it sort of just, this feels about right, I'll pitch them on this?
That was where problems arose. So as I've spoken about previously, I closed a fair number of clients in a short window of time. It was something like 16 people within a couple of months.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, everything like Facebook ads, rewriting the leaflets, email marketing, landing pages. What happened was I could get results for some people, but not all of them. And I didn't like that. There was people certain clients I had to refund because I couldn't do what I thought I could do. And actually my confidence took a hit.
You would, yeah.
So what I then decided to do was to focus on getting good. And that was
plan.
Yeah, that fundamentally changed everything. I went from going maybe from a typical approach of you sign one client and then almost immediately try and sign 5 more to I signed one and then I decided to put all my eggs in that one basket. And so what happened was I decided I wanted to try and work for the best agency I could find at the time. And I spent 6 months trying to get a job with them. They advertised they wanted a media buyer. So I put my CV in to become a media buyer. Mm-hmm. I didn't get it, but clearly I made an impact because a few months later they reached out and they wanted a copywriter, and that was my in. And it wasn't much money. I think I was being paid $400 a month, and I was writing 50 ad scripts a week for months, and I churned them out.
You really got very good then.
Yeah, I got a lot of access to a lot of different clients, and as a function of deciding to be good, I delivered on time. I was working through the night some instances to get these ad scripts written for the various founders, and more opportunity just started coming to my plate.
Yeah, naturally. Word spreads.
Yeah.
This Tobias guy's a weapon. You got to check him out. You got to hire him.
Yeah.
Referrals will, naturally come very easily once you're clearly competent, delivering results. People start asking, dude, who's your copywriter? Who's your media buyer? Like these guys all talk, right? They grab lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, new guy, you should check him out, Tobias.
But what was interesting is I didn't accept any of them.
Interesting.
I still kept focusing on that single agency, and the agency kept giving me more opportunities. I went from just writing ad scripts to then managing the email lists of clients, and again, focusing on getting good. I had an interesting task of, they gave me an email list with about 100,000 people on it, and I'd never done email marketing before. And in the first 30 days, I was able to generate about 250,000 in revenue.
That's very solid.
And that was actually the turning point when they offered me a full-time job, because prior to that, I was still a freelancer.
Yeah.
And then I focused on doing the work in front of me.
Yeah, that's great. That's novel. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was what we're talking 5, 6, 7 years ago now.
Yeah, round about there.
Nowadays, the landscape has definitely shifted fairly significantly. Obviously, we have things like AI. We have people like Andrew Tate who've come along, pumped hundreds of thousands of copywriters into the market.
Yeah.
BizOp people, I'm partially responsible. And so the landscape's definitely shifted. So I guess my question for you is, if you had to start again today, like let's say you're a beginner freelancer, you were back where you were, but right now in today's day and age, no money, no connections, nothing. How would you go about landing those first few clients today, like 2025 and beyond?
Yeah. So firstly is I'd pull a list of people I wanted to work with, and I would be unreasonable. I would try and go for the whales in whatever industry I wanted to work in. Again, always try and go for the top. What's that trite saying? It's like, if you shoot for the stars, like
you land on the moon or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so like the top guys in the space typically will give you the most learning potential. And then also typically they'll also pay the most as well. So I would just pull a list of all the top guys, and then it's just a problem solving exercise of how do you reach them at various point. And I'm not talking about like reaching them in the next week. Like quite often you can do, but it was just maintaining that list and then keeping an eye out for opportunities or like chinks in the armor for eventually when there'd be an opportunity that would present itself. Whether they would, again, I keep going back to it, like advertise for a job where you can just speak to someone in the company, or you like all their posts and comment on their Instagram, or just constantly trying to like get into, like view it as like a castle. How do you get into the castle? Earlier this year, for instance, when I left acquisition, I have a very strong base in the States. And this was the first time I was kind of coming back to the UK in a while. And so I wanted to get integrated with some of the top brands over here, one of which would be like the Diary of a CEO. And so there was a lady called Grace Andrews, who's the director of marketing over there. And I wanted to get a hold of her. And I applied for a job. When she posted on her socials, didn't hear anything back. I didn't want a job. I wanted to get access. And so I just bided my time. And I figured out I'm not going to mention it specifically, but I figured out where a lot of them hung out, and I got integrated there. And it took me 3 months.
So into their physical social circle, like in London.
Basically. And I actually saw her about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
It took me 3 months to eventually essentially get a hold of her. But my point is, with persistence and flexible strategy, you can get access to most people. I was able to do that time and time again.
Yeah, and you're playing the long game, right? And it's not thinking, hey, spray and pray, who can I get today? They didn't respond to my first message, give up, go try someone else. It's thinking, who do I know that might know them? Can I get an introduction? The front door's closed. Go to the back, go to the chimney, go to the underground, dig a tunnel, do what you got to do.
Yep.
And I like that you said start at the top, because, dude, most people just disqualify themselves completely from these opportunities. I see really talented marketers, copywriters, freelancers, video editors, whatever. And they immediately, it's like, you see the 10 out of 10 at the bar and they just go, no, she's too hot for me. Like that client's too big for me.
Yeah.
And they disqualify themselves, right? They don't even give themselves the shot.
Yeah.
That's like, to be realistic, your chances of landing an absolute whale client like that might be 1 in 100, but it's 0 out of 100 if you don't try. And 1% is infinitely higher than 0%.
Yeah.
And what do you have to lose? I mean, you need a bit of time, but the payoff is there.
The other thing is, for a lot of these larger businesses, they always have like some level of need. Like even if you can just get yourself in the copywriting department, writing like the checkout forms or just something, like some piece of work that no one else really wants to do. My good friend Jacob, who's the sales director at acquisition, he had a nickname, the garbage man, because he'd always take the crap leads. It's like, be the garbage man of copy. What is the kind of stuff, potentially the copy that people don't want to write or the tasks that they don't want to do? You can come in and take off someone's plate and then like prove yourself. Like again, playing the long game, depending on what strategy you want.
We're going to see a lot of garbage men in bios from
basically
from this point onwards.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, dude, this segues me perfectly into the big question.
Yeah.
The one that everyone wants to know. You landed quite a hefty whale as a client, as a freelance copywriter. Mr. Alex Hormozi. How did that come about?
Yeah.
Probably the number one thing people want to know is, I want to land someone like Alex Hormozi as a client. How the hell do I even go about that? How did that happen?
Yeah.
Who did you do it through? Was it this sort of system you were describing here, just playing the long game, looking for an in?
Yeah. The reality is I got very lucky. So when I said I wanted to get good, in addition to doing a insane amount of reps across a lot of different clients, specifically within this agency, everything that I was also making, I was reinvesting into myself. At the time, I'd sacrificed how much money I was going to make in order to get good. And so I was probably making like £23,000 a year in terms of base salary, excluding commission. And I looked at the receipts for that year. I probably spent close to like £16,000 on education. Like just, I was living off like the bare minimum and like quite often in my overdraft or like even borrowing money in times. And all of that was going towards coaches and mentorship. That was when I discovered that I didn't just have to rely on books. There were like online courses. And so what happened was I bought someone's program and I did really well with it. And I became his top student. And in terms of like a recurring theme, it's like whenever I got good, there were more opportunities that kind of landed on my plate. And what happened was one of these mentors, he reached out of the blue one day and he's like, I want you to meet my mentor. And this guy had super expensive coaching program that I couldn't afford and a deadline of like, I needed to come up with like $3,000 within the next couple of days to take a part in it. So again, got a loan out to pay for it. And I went all in. Again, wanted to be the best. So I think for like 6 to 8 months, we met every week for like 1 to 2 hours a week, just studying marketing. It was called the Hunger Games. And it was like essentially last man standing. It was at the end of that I then got another email out of the blue saying the subject line was not what I was thinking, but you should do it. And then that was an intro to Alex. I essentially proved myself over those 8 months. To a thing with the Hunger Games is like you kind of had to do what you were told. And so it was like an 8-month track record of like, put these in these email welcome sequences or put this on like the landing page. And what happens is, depending on the industry, a lot of the top guys know a lot of the other top guys. And so at that time, Alex was looking for a marketing director and he was asking his network, do you know anyone? Because of the foundational work that I'd done, my name was essentially mentioned. This guy put 2 names forward. My understanding is the intro was, I've got 2 amazing marketers. One is more interested in lifestyle. And I apologize, Matthew, if you're listening to this. The other one
with Alex.
The other one will work until their eyes bleed.
Yep.
And I was the one that would work. And yeah, I had a meeting directly with Alex. Clearly made a decent impression, and then I was onboarded within kind of like 1 to 2 weeks. That started my journey at acquisition.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that you talked about the eye of the tiger, going all in. It's a recurring theme that I'm seeing. I've done a fair few of these interviews, both with some of my mentors, coaches, industry titans, and also with my own students, and it's just the same thing again and again and again. It's deciding I want this, and I'm come hell or high water, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Going all in. I did exactly the same thing in the beginning of my journey, just reinvesting literally everything I made from minimum wage warehouse job, into coaches, courses, because I was like, I know that's going to produce the highest ROI out of anything I can possibly spend my money on. Yeah. And time again, it's paid off. Like I've gone back to zero even a few times along the journey, but just out of zero every time, right? Yeah. And it's clearly paid off. So yeah, that's epic. Let's say someone watching this, they want to land a whale, like Alex. That's probably not a super replicatable strategy, the Hunger Games and everything like that. Yeah. Would you just advise they kind of do what you were talking about before? So the chinks in the armor sort of thing? Yeah, chinks in the armor. Again, there's an flexibility in approach, but 2 core methods would be, one is go direct. See if you can get access to the business at a very high level, like the leadership team or the CEO. You'll be amazed at how available people's email addresses are. Like even an email address, or like, as you kind of teach, someone's physical address even. Mm-hmm. You can find these things with a little bit of digging, and or potentially even an educated guess, like using a tool like hunter.io. Yep. Just play around with their initials or their name with company name, email address. And like it's like a bit like code breaking. You can kind of like just try like 10 different combinations and then potentially get lucky. Yeah, people aren't very creative with their emails. They're not like trying to hide them. Exactly. Like when Elon Musk started his company, he wasn't thinking, one day I'm going to be this ultra successful CEO and I don't want anyone knowing my email. Yeah. Like he just made Elon at SpaceX.com and got on with his life, right? Yeah. So. And the other thing is the office has a physical address as well. So I remember one of the sales guys who ended up with a job at acquisition, he got pizzas delivered to the office and he got the pizza company to take out a slice of each pizza to feed the team. And then he got the staff to say like, I am the missing piece. Like stuff like that. That's great. Again, like
ADA,
Show
attention,
up
interest,
differently.
desire, and action. Exactly. Show up differently. And then another one of the sales guys cold emailed everyone in the business. They didn't just force rank one person's email address. They did it for the entire team. Stuff like that gets attention across the team because people talk. There's, I've got an email from XYZ.
Different for each person, right?
Yeah. And so that's the direct approach. The other thing is just you look for the advisors. If you can't get access to the person, go through their advisor network. Because, and you learn this in the fundraising space, a warm referral, or once you get your foot in a network, you quite often can get referred to everyone else within the network.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Did I know a guy that was an artist, a DJ, who was trying to get signed to a particular label?
Yeah.
And he mailed himself as a package to the headquarters. And it was like the most ballsy thing. I'm like, you're either going to get arrested or you're going to sign the deal. There's no in between whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so he just like, the courier rocks up. There's this huge box. It's got a human inside it. And it's just holding USB like packed like this. They open it up. What the fuck is this? He's like, hey, before you kick me out, I've got a track. I'd love you to hear it.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, man, go for it. They love the track and they signed it. So,
dude, I love that. I've heard stories of people mailing a shoe and then proceeding to ring the company because they want their shoe back. To be clear, like when you're first getting started, or like if you, depending on how hungry you are, like you can professionalize later on, but going from 0 to 1 or like just getting ahead, I think taking those kind of surprising approaches is sometimes what's necessary. Yeah. Exceptional results come from exceptional actions.
Being bold will get you everywhere.
Yeah.
If you don't have the credentials and the sexy track record, then you got to show up differently, right? You got to do something.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And to be honest, even with quote unquote the sexy credentials or the sexy track record, I'm still doing potentially surprising stuff to get access to people if they don't know me.
Because otherwise you sound like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we guarantee you 100 sales calls this month, blah, blah, blah. Get out of my inbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, you've obviously hung around a lot of killers, a lot of up and coming entrepreneurs at all levels. Staying on the topic of freelancers for a sec before we talk about the next chapter.
Yeah.
What do you feel like separates the guys who, whether it's in my program, other programs, who smash past that 10K a month and just seem to take off, and the others who might stay stuck under 10K a month for ages? You know, do you feel like, is it mindset? Is it strategy? Is it a mix of things?
I'd be lying if it's definitely mindset, like having the confidence to go for it in the first place. And then if you don't have the confidence, one of Alex's sayings, which I'm a huge fan of, is like outwork your self-doubt. You can put the inputs in to get the results before you even believe it's possible. And then you start getting kind of that belief, and then it becomes this feedback loop. So mindset is definitely a piece to it. But if you don't have the mindset, that's no excuse. You can still do the actions.
The actions will produce the mindset ultimately.
Basically. So like put the reps in. When it comes to the freelancers that are getting past that level, to start off with, it's sales ability. Just being able to like pitch as many people as possible and like land those clients, and like just doing the maths. 5 clients at $2,000 a month is 10,000 a month. In terms of the ones that then proceed to keep that, it's client delivery. Like it's the basics of like being able to do some level of results for someone.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to do the slow rate of landing 1 client and doing an exceptional job, you then get referrals, and you ask for referrals, but then like 1 client can turn into 2 clients can turn into 4 can turn into 8. Mm-hmm. Like just by asking referrals at key points, like put in your calendar every month to ask the client that you're getting results for another referral. Just consistently stay top of mind.
Yeah. And pro tip, do it at a good moment.
Yeah.
After you've just had a big win.
Yeah.
Don't do it when they're not so happy with your work. Right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
The timing is important. That's awesome, man. This is really, really cool. Really, really valuable stuff so far. I'd love to pivot for a second. I feel like that was kind of act 1, your freelancing journey. I'd love to go into act 2, which is acquisition.com. You mentioned just before that you said something around Alex has rubbed off on you, his mindset, outwork your self-doubt, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, like, just hanging around so many killers, 9-figure operators, guys like Alex, like Layla, who's an absolute savage, their whole C-suite team, and then all the portfolio companies that are doing 8-9 figures. What are some of the things that have rubbed off on you in terms of like mindset, specific quotes or thought patterns, or like just seeing how people like Alex and Layla approach the world, how they approach problems, how they wake up, how they operate? What has been some of the biggest things that have rubbed off on you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start with some of the founders that have gone past like 9 figures, because what keeps someone going when they've essentially like reached a certain level of financial freedom?
Generational wealth.
Basically, yeah. In those instances, the thing that I've seen is like a mission element. I like using the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where for those who don't know, it's kind of like a pyramid where you start off with the basic needs. like food, shelter, water, friends, family, things like that. And then the top of the pyramid is self-actualization. So for these founders that when they've built an 8-figure business or they've built a business that's successful, how do they then go to 9, or what keeps them being driven? Sometimes it's just they want more money. Sometimes it's just like pure greed. They just Gordon Gekko, greed is good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which again, nothing wrong with that.
Helping people and providing valuable services, nothing wrong with that at all.
Exactly. But then other times it's actually a mission that is what the company starts to develop into. They've got a mission to like transform the industry or transform the customers within the industry. And those leaders get very good at essentially embodying that, and then also like imbuing it as a culture within the business and getting everyone excited to like take part in that mission. Going back real quick for the freelance side of things, like I got scared when it came to hiring some early employees, because I was terrified that like I would bring someone on and then wouldn't be able to like support them or support the wage. And I was lucky that a friend within my network was a business owner and he'd lost everything and he started again. I asked him, how did you start again, like after you'd let so many people down? And his response was, it was all about the journey. When you're starting a business or when you're in business, you're taking people on a journey and people are coming on a journey with you. It's not up to you necessarily if like the journey ends. That's the deal or the bet that people take. So that kind of gave me some permission to fail there, which was kind of a mindset thing I had to overcome.
Yeah, to help take some of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Are there any like specific traits that you see these killers have, like in terms of discipline, mindset, like the way they operate, the way they view the world, anything that's kind of fundamentally changed how you approach business or even just your day-to-day life, worldview?
So skill-wise, many of them have a strong skill set with sales, like being able to close deals. In terms of how they view the world, they think bigger, just like a bigger vision or a bigger thing that they're going after, putting the reps in. Like many of them, even though they are financially independent and got teams of people working for them, they're still in the office at 5, 6 in the morning and finishing late. They just love the game.
Yeah, I was going to say at that level, it has to be. They love it. There's nothing else they'd rather be doing. They don't want to retire and watch movies all day, right?
Yeah, work is fun for them. Yeah, and they're really good at it. Like, yeah. To be honest, I've thought a lot about like what makes the difference, and it's salesman, like it's ability with sales often, and then just hard work, and they're going after something big.
And you think that passion precedes that success and the drive, or part of it is like the success creates the passion? That's what I've noticed about. I wasn't particularly passionate about copywriting or coaching.
Yeah.
But then when I see firsthand the results and the money and the transformation I get my clients, like that lights me up. And now I'm passionate.
Yeah.
I wasn't passionate in the beginning, but it's the end game. It kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Yeah, definitely that. So it doesn't always start off with passion, but like they then become passionate once like results start coming in, or they get good at it. The game becomes fun because they've developed a level of skill.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. So I'd love to talk a little more tactical right now. Talk about marketing, what's working in the industry and the space at the moment. I was lucky enough to be invited to the first ever workshop that you guys did in Vegas. Part of that was, I think, because I was in the top 10 for the affiliate competition. So thank you for letting me know about it early so I could get a head start in front of everyone else and beat Taki more. Shout out Taki. It's great. So obviously you've worked with a lot of portfolio companies, right? You were kind of in charge of that division, working on marketing for these businesses in various industries. What's kind of one of the first things you think of when you're tasked, you're assigned a new company and you're like, your job is to help these guys grow and scale? What's some of the first things you look for in terms of identifying bottlenecks? Because that was really the theme and my big takeaway from the workshop in Vegas was the whole thing was just like business is literally boiled down to identify the bottleneck or the constraint and remove it. And then until there's another constraint and then remove that. And Alex said something which made the whole room laugh because it was so true, right? He's like, who here knows what the constraint in your business is? Everyone puts their hand up. He's like, so why do you wake up and do different shit? Everyone just goes, and so it's true. So I guess like when you look at a business now, what's kind of the first thing that you audit or look at to spot that untapped growth and opportunity?
Yeah, the answer might be surprising. Quite often it's the model. So when I was first on board in acquisition, I was one of the early subject matter experts specific to marketing. And quite often marketing was not the first thing that we focused on. It was actually like the business economics, raising prices or sales, like show up rates of the sales team, or like that element of like the conversion engine and how much it was worth. Because the reality is when it comes to like advertising, there's an element of arbitrage. It's $1 in, $2 out, or $3 or more. And in order to get that, you need a business with superior economics and also the ability to close deals. So there was an element of like, when I'm looking at a company, like I'm actually looking at what is the pricing and do they have the ability to close deals? Once that's kind of like in place, it's then addressing or kind of running a SWOT analysis of the various ways that you can market a business. I like telling people to do, when I say SWOT analysis, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Just list out essentially the ways of getting customers, cold outbound, advertising, content, affiliates, so on and so forth. And then look at the SWOT analysis to see what you can potentially be good at. And then the other variable is there's an element of like channel model fit, which is if you look at paid advertising, ads cost a different amount based on where you're buying it. LinkedIn advertising is pretty expensive versus TikTok advertising of like viral shorts is like free. If you are selling candy, you don't want to do LinkedIn advertising because you're never going to make money from it.
Yeah.
And so therefore you might have to, like, on this spectrum of where you can get attention, start going to the cheaper places and or like shift the model. Like if you're aiming to sell chocolate bars and you want to run Meta, let's say a chocolate bar is $5, the CPO in Meta is going to likely be more than $5. That's never going to work. So you have to change the model of like, okay, so how do I make this chocolate bar worth more than $5? Do I have to do a bundle or a gift box or like build a funnel to raise the economics? So you sort that out, and then buying advertising really does become a lot easier because it's just you put your card in and not quite let it rip, but like let it rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, legend has it, Alex might have a book coming out pretty soon about this exact topic.
Yeah.
So that should be pretty interesting. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. He says it's his most valuable book so far, and I believe that because I think that's probably the biggest unlock for a lot of businesses. It's just you get that right, and you just pump money in the front end, pump money out the back end, right? Once it's the economics. It's what I love. People like Alan Soltanic, for example, talks a lot about this, and I feel like it's not talked about enough in the entrepreneurship business world. Everyone's, how do I get leads? How do I close sales? But it's like you're missing the fundamental piece, which is like, does your actual business model and your extension model make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of skill, I would say that's one of Alex's most valuable skills.
Yeah.
Is like the monetization of a business.
Yeah, we look at what he did with the gym industry, completely revolutionized it in the way that he was able to take unprofitable gyms, turn them profitable, simple things, weekly pricing instead of monthly pricing, selling them supplement bundle on the front end so you can break even on the ad cost straight away and then ascend them into the, from the challenge into monthly membership, whatever. And yeah, that's like literally that can be the difference between bankruptcy and 9 figures. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. I'm actually reading his like first book, Gym Launch Secrets, right now. Like, from a business standpoint, it's actually probably one of the best business books from like understanding the economics that can happen within a business and what I mentioned earlier about, do you have a broken model that you're trying to advertise? Because if you're trying to do that, you're not really going to get anywhere. Like, and Alex has a very good example of that in the gym industry of like, if you try and copy the big box retailers or gym guys, they have a different economic system which you won't be able to do in a small gym.
Like Planet Fitness, for example.
Yeah.
Their model is like huge gym will sell to cheap memberships to people who realistically probably won't come to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's 90% empty, and that's how they're able to sell 5,000 memberships into a 500 person gym or something like that.
Yeah. And those same principles apply to essentially any industry.
Yeah.
And understanding that can give you an edge with kind of any industry that you go into, because you can start to like, I like to view the frame of like marketing as like warfare. And if I'm going in an industry, I'm looking at like the top guy and then essentially like, again, the chinks in the armor. How can you potentially beat them? Is it on economics? Is it on a superior marketing approach? Is it potentially a superior product? So on and so forth.
You also can't model, I think Daniel Iles, viral coach, he has this saying, which is like the famous person effect, where a lot of people try and model the top guys and they're like, oh, I'm going to make content like Gary Vee and like Alex and whatever else. And you're like, no, you're talking from a place where you're missing the context that they have, which is they're a massive industry authority, and anything they say, people are going to watch because of the who. You're missing the who. Trying to copy the action, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it comes down to the model thing again. Super cool. Dude, we can't possibly not cover the book launch on this podcast. So you're behind one of the biggest, if not the biggest, book launches in history. I think it's the second biggest non-fiction book launch in history. I could be mistaken. I think Gary Vee or someone has the title and this was second, but it was about 500,000 registrations for the book launch, right?
Yeah. We actually registered, I think, somewhere in the region of like 560,000 people for a live event to launch Alex's second book in the 100 million series, which was 100 million leads.
You were kind of the mastermind architect behind this whole thing, weren't you?
I can't say I was the mastermind because it was all Alex's idea. I just helped close the gap between the idea and like the execution. So broadly speaking, each book is a meta concept.
Yes.
100 million offers, how to make an offer so good people feel stupid saying no. Launched on Kindle for like 99 cents.
Yeah, it came with a free course. It's
No-brainer offer.
exactly, yeah.
100 million leads was like how to get strangers to want to buy your stuff. The meta concept of that was, again, an offer, but then also like using everything in the book to get leads for the book. And so that idea was Alex's. I take no credit for that. It was just a question of like executing on all of the ways to bring customers in the business, everything I'd been trained on at acquisition to launch the thing. And so affiliates, cold email, ads, content, like employees, all of it was used. And I think it got bigger than anyone kind of ever expected. I don't think we expected to register essentially half a city. And it just went to show that the stuff that was in the book worked. Yeah. And one of those things was the affiliate program. Honestly, I'd never really done affiliates beforehand.
First time.
Yeah, more or less. And
Right. I think you might have figured it out.
yeah, I gave myself a crash course. So a skill set I guess I learned is like how to learn.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks, I found the best people in the industry of like who does affiliates well. I watched all of their interviews. I tried to get access to their courses if they had them, books, so on and so forth. Like crammed it like I was studying for a final, and then pulled out the principles, and then it was go time. Yeah, it just worked.
Yeah, because I think you said about a third of all the 1,000 people came from ads, a third came from affiliates, and a third came from content, right?
Yeah, roundabout, which again was super surprising. Like the affiliate program was free, more or less. Like there was no financial incentive, and yeah, brought in a third of the leads.
Yeah, well, the other ones are linear, right? But the affiliates is exponential. You get a few people on board, and then they get their audiences on board, and then those audiences get their audiences on board. And it's just a snowball.
Yeah. So the year before I left acquisition, it was the workshop division. And in the first 12 months, brought in thousands of businesses. I spent 5 to 6 months in Vegas, like involved in the workshops. And I got quite a lot of access to data on like certain businesses and like how they advertise and all of these things. Out of all of the businesses I saw, that the two largest ones were all built on the back of affiliate programs. So like right now I'm very, very biased towards affiliates. This creator platform I'm helping scale, again, a key driver of the growth, a third of the customers that are coming in is from an affiliate program. Like in the last 4 months or 3 months since I've been involved with them, we've grown it at like 120%. Yeah, it's bringing customers in at like a third of the volume, and the CPA is insane. Yeah, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's really crushing it.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's probably better that you keep it a secret.
Yes, it's kind of why I'm not mentioning the name, because again, marketing is warfare, and
It doesn't take long then.
Yeah.
For people figure out what's working, and then they're on it like, bees on honey or whatever.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Super cool. On that note, one sort of final topic I'd love to wrap up before we get into Act 3, which is like AI in the future. Just kind of like what's working now. So obviously you have been exposed to so many ultra successful businesses working inside them, which is invaluable because you're literally getting to see what's working at the top, not just with one business, but multiple.
Yeah.
So we were kind of talking about this at lunch just before, that I have felt for probably the last 6 months to a year that the old sort of traditional model of lead straight to high ticket sale close is dying out slowly. It's becoming very difficult to make those economics work.
Yeah.
Ad costs are rising, no show rates are increasing, close rates decreasing. The market is getting more skeptical, they're getting more sophisticated.
Yeah.
More and more people have already taken the plunge, invested in coaching, and got burned, unfortunately, by some bad actors. And so all those combinations of things is just making it much harder to make it work. And so I feel like we're kind of reversing, or regressing, should I say, back to maybe mid 2010s with the old ascension model that was popular before the high ticket closing sort of thing came big in like 2017.
Yeah.
So what do you think at the moment is working the best for, I guess, info and coaching business specifically in terms of funnels, VSLs, webinars, ads, ascension, doing paid workshops? I know you said before that kind of low ticket is making a big resurgence. Also the subscription models as an ascension vehicle, and also a profit mechanism too. So kind of a broad question. You can take that where you want it, but what do you see is working best at the moment for info and coaching businesses? Yeah,
great question. So in terms of converting a organic audience, so think of someone with a personal brand, what I'm seeing work really well is actually webinars. I'm seeing a resurgence of webinars, surprisingly.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, off of an organic audience, where you can have someone with a large Instagram following potentially go to like a VSL funnel straight to call booking using a webinar instead. There's more friction, but I guess in a low trust environment, a longer form presentation or like a longer form funnel helps you build more trust. And then they're using that to then book calls, and then those calls close at a higher rate. So that's certainly something that I'm seeing right now on that side. And then you can run ads into that and so on and so forth. To your point, low ticket. So an LTO or a low ticket is maybe an item, think of like a book funnel or a digital product selling from $47 to $97. A reason that is making a resurgence is because ad costs have got more expensive. And
It's
so
only going to keep going up.
basically, and the thing with a high ticket funnel is it's actually quite inefficient. You have to run a sales team, and sales team commission can be quite expensive. And at scale as well, you deal with a lot of operational complexity. Imagine having 45 sales reps.
Then you have sales managers, and then you have sales managers.
Yeah, and which with a funnel where you're running it on the economics, let's say the sales team starts to suffer and you're spending millions of dollars a month, it can really impact like the front end of a business. So I think people have got burnt out by high ticket funnels. Ad costs have obviously got more expensive. Again, what I mentioned earlier of like model channel fit. Facebook as a channel has got more expensive. You have to shift the model to what economically makes sense. Low ticket is a very good way to stack the odds in your favor. High ticket funnel, let's say a KPI for a booked call is about $200. Typically, it's a little bit more than that. To sell a low ticket item, you can test a few $100s in ad spend and make some sales.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like burn a lot of money. So it just shifts the model into your favor, selling a low ticket, building a buyer list, and then ascending a buyer list. It requires a little bit more patience. You can't necessarily like run up a low ticket as fast as a VSL necessarily, but it's more sustainable in my biased view. So you've got webinars to organic, you've got low ticket, and then broadly speaking, you've got like a social funnel. Like the creator economy is absolutely booming. Influencers, influencer marketing, shout outs. Organic is cheap. And so a lot of people are like now diving into organic views and organic attention because it's cheaper than trying to like crack meta economics.
Yeah. That's a massive shift I've made in the last few months, and I've really decided I'm going super hard on short form, especially over the next 6 months. It's the big push. As I said before, I think fame is the best business model. Everyone knows who you are. It's pretty hard to not make money.
Yep, agreed.
Even if they hate you, you could still make money out of it. So
very true.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is we're in what a lot of people are referring to as a trust recession, right? At the moment, where it's like people have had bad experiences and they don't believe promises anymore. They don't even believe guarantees anymore. And so I think that the low ticket sort of ascension model is just an incredible way to give people a taste into your world and what you offer for a very affordable, risk-free price point. And this is something I started playing around with maybe a year and a half ago, and I just regret not doing it earlier because of how well it works.
Yeah.
We ran our first ever 5-day challenge back in January, and I gave away literally all my best client getting stuff for $10.
Yeah.
And absolutely every person on it was like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe you're giving this away. Like, this should be $1,000. And that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of them ended up ascending and joining my backend thing because they're like, Sean is clearly knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. I need to be in his program, right?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have otherwise joined unless they had, it's like, the free trial, free sample sort of idea.
Yeah. Are you running paid ads into it?
I didn't the first one. The next one, 100%.
Cool.
I will. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Dude, this has been epic. We have 5-ish minutes left.
Yeah.
I'd love to quickly talk about chapter 3, which is post-acquisition, where you've gone now. You said you left acquisition, you're moving on to green pastures. And do you want to talk about that and kind of why you left and what the next chapter is for you? You're heavily involved in the new creator economy, especially with AI.
Yeah.
Where do you think that whole industry is moving? It's like the new digital gold rush.
Yeah.
I was saying at lunch, man, I'm seeing these AI influencers popping up on my feed every freaking day. Like there's some AI model who like doesn't even exist. And she's just like, hey, I made $100,000 in my first month, like selling this AI course. And half of me is just like, fuck you, you don't even exist. It took me 3 years to get to 100K a month and you did it in 1 month and you're not even real.
Yeah.
And then the other half of me is just like, this is an insane opportunity that I feel like a lot of people should be jumping on. So yeah, where do you think this whole industry, first, like why the move, why the shift? And then where do you think this industry is going? Because we're just getting started here. Yeah. And this is only the beginning.
Yeah. I left because I wanted to do, it sounds weird saying it, but some big things. One of the people I personally look up to is a guy called David Ogilvy, who built Ogilvy and Mather, or the Ogilvy Advertising company. He made worldwide brands, and I just wanted to like do advertising campaigns kind of on that scale of like build brands that like potentially everyone in the world knows. And for me, like I just want to help people. And so for me, like if you help a business scale, this current company that I've been involved with, we've gone from like 43 team members at the start of this year to like 97 now. It's like 40 plus jobs in like a small period of time. Like And then in addition to that, then all the customers that you help. And so
Yeah, you're onboarding 20,000 new creators a month, right?
yeah, like if you help a business, I believe like good products and services can change people's lives. So like helping a good business sell more of those things can impact people. And then you'll then also provide livelihoods. And so personally, I want to get involved in more of those side of things. In terms of where I see AI going, I'll break it up into like AI within marketing real quick, and then like AI influencers as a kind of an opportunity. I've been losing quite a lot of sleep when it comes to like AI. On like a constant theme for me is like, how do I position myself to be like amongst the top or like at the top? And I was getting worried that I couldn't compete with the teenager or the 20-year-old in their garage just vibe coding 20 hours a day. Like even within my marketing team in the last month, my marketing manager had vibe coded an entire CRM to run the ambassador scheme off of. And then the growth lead, he just vibe coded an influencer outreach tool that pulls all the keywords that we're looking for, then proceeds to like scrape the video title, put it as the intro within the first like intro email, scrape their email, and then reach out to them.
Right.
And like, how as a marketer are you meant to compete with that where people have like a tech advantage? So this last 2 weeks, I essentially locked myself in a room to try and like understand what does AI mean for a marketing department. And then I also spoke with half a dozen operators to see how they're using AI. My current solution is AI just amplifies what you're already doing. I think the future of marketing teams is going to be developers with maybe a creative director, like managing them from a creative standpoint. That's potentially like long-term blue sky thinking. In the short term, I just think a new role has opened up within a marketing team where you have like an AI integrator or an AI developer on the team just creating workflows to help the existing unit perform better. And like one of the better operators I spoke with, all of their advertising is AI now, and they're spending about $26,000 a day on it, and their marketing team is comprised of 4 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how I see AI being used, is amplifying what already works. In terms of AI influencers, essentially everything that you see in the influencer economy right now, just superimpose that onto AI. So I'm seeing AI influencers get brand deals, like sell products and services.
That's mental.
And what I think is interesting is potentially the TAM, total addressable market, is going to be so much larger. Because if you think about a human creator, like it takes 9 months for someone to be born, and then maybe like 18 years for them to develop into like a person who maybe start creating content, maybe like 5 years until they see success with it. You're talking like, let's just say 20 plus years for a real influencer to develop, excluding like, let's just say that's that. Someone in an afternoon can create 5 AI influencers if they wanted to.
And so making money day one.
Basically. And so let's say there's 3 million influencers, just to say a number. There's potentially going to be 300 million AI influencers. What that means in terms of like attention saturation, that would be a challenge for another day, but that's where I see it going.
Because we're probably 6 months away from them being indistinguishable on video. Like right now, you can see a video, you're like, she's lifelike, but she's AI.
Yeah.
6 months? I don't know if we're going to be able to tell the difference anymore. It's genuinely scary.
The other thing is, from a creative standpoint, AI influencers don't have to be human. Like you're seeing the talking yetis, like dragons, squirrels, like talking animals, talking objects. It's potentially going to be like AI dragons teaching kids math, or like you've got a complete new chessboard or pieces on the chessboard and all the second order consequences of that. You're not just limited to humanity. And so it's the wild west of kind of attention. What I think will be interesting is how the platforms react to it and what they do. Yeah. And you've probably seen it in the music space. Like what did Spotify do the other day? The AI music band?
There's been AI music on there for a little while.
Yeah. But like the margins are higher because they don't have to pay like an artist. They created a band and they basically ranked it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now we're competing with AI and music.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like everyone thought AI would come for these manual labor jobs first, right? And it's like the 2 industries they came for first were my 2 industries, copywriting and music. And I was like, yo, calm down, guys. We just got thrown in the deep end and so we had to just figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I'm equally excited and terrified for the future where this is going. And I think everyone sort of sits in the same boat where, we were talking at lunch about how, you asked me like, are you scared of AI? Like with copywriting, obviously that's kind of this elephant in the room overshadowing everything, right?
Yeah.
It has been for a few years. And, I talked about my multimillionaire neighbor, Chris, who's this ultra successful Uber partner, startup, guy, visionary, Silicon Valley millionaire, so on.
Yeah.
2 years ago, messaged me out of the blue, saw one of my stories. He was like, Sean, it's over for copywriters. Yeah. Trust me. Even if it's 6 months, which it's not, pivot, get out. Like ChatGPT is coming for your neck. Like you're screwed.
Yeah.
And obviously this guy's very successful and knowledgeable and intelligent and can see the future. So that rocked me a little bit. But to be honest, as I said before, like in the last 2-3 months, we're in mid 2025 now. We've had more student wins than ever before in our program in CMB. Like in the wins chat, it's just people landing clients left and right. And I feel like at the moment we're in this absolutely perfect golden window of opportunity where it's this sweet spot, the Goldilocks middle ground, right? Where clients are still willing to pay full rates because they really only care about the outcome. Like they don't care if you use AI or not. In fact, they'd probably prefer that you do because you can deliver faster as long as the quality is the same. And on the flip side, you're able to deliver 5 times faster because you can use AI to crank out the copy in 20% of the time if you know what you're doing with prompting, editing, and so on.
Yeah.
And so we have people like Akil who, for example, is doing like 32K a month, working 6 hours a week. That wasn't possible 2 years ago. And so that part's super exciting. Where that goes long term, 3, 5, 10 years, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Is it just going to be AI influencers on AI sales calls selling other AI influencers into AI coaching programs? I don't know where this ends.
Yeah.
If you have any insights on that, I'd love to hear your thoughts as we wrap up.
Yeah. Reality is behind the AI influencers is still a person. You are getting robots build other robots.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing. But I think you hit the nail on the head. It's amplifying what already works. Like AI as a tool to make what you do better, not necessarily like something new, is kind of where I'm starting when it comes to AI. Because as I said, like I'm equally quote unquote like terrified by it. Like I was losing sleep. And so I decided to sit down and figure it out how I could use it. And the answer right now is amplification. With an AI ad, you can take a winning ad and make 1,000 of it in 20 minutes, but you still have to come up with a winning ad. And I know I can do that. And so like for freelancing, or let's just say freelancing or copywriting, you know how to write copy, use AI to amplify that so you can serve more clients, or you can write better emails or better ads. Like doesn't necessarily replace what you do, just use it to become better. That's my approach. That's where my head's at right now.
Yeah. I think to alleviate some doubts and people who might be terrified is really this is just kind of the 2.0 version of like the .com boom, right? It's like the internet came around, completely leveled the playing field. Now you didn't have to be born with wealth. Literally anyone from any country, if you have an internet connection, could make money.
Yeah.
This has just leveled the playing field even harder to the floor, right? And so it's just means really anyone, as long as you have some work ethic and some drive and you're willing to figure it out, can figure it out. This is exactly, I asked Alex a similar question. Where do you think this AI thing is going?
Yeah.
And he said, it's above my pay grade and whatever, but he gave a really insightful answer, which was at the end of the day, there's only going to be 2 types of people, right? There's people who are competitive and driven and want to win, and people who aren't, who just sit on their laurels and go about their day and whatever, right? So if you're committed to being the person who's at the forefront, to figuring it out, to not be the ostrich with your head in the sand and want to stay on the forefront rather than getting left behind, then no matter where this industry goes, even if it's all AI, UBI, income replaces everyone, like whatever, like wherever we're headed with this thing, if you're the type of person who's competitive and driven and you want to figure it out, you're always going to come out ahead anyway.
Yeah, agreed.
AI is just a tool.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's just a tool. When it came to learning AI, just briefly, I think a lot of people are like overwhelmed with how much stuff is out there and also how much like AI slop is out there as well. Like it's becoming a very large biz op of people teaching AI when they don't necessarily know AI. The way I did it is potentially unconventional. I found one of the best AI guys that I personally like find, and then just like paid access to like all of their stuff or to them directly. And the thing that like gave me comfort was they were using AI backed with like psychology. Like they were still building funnels. So this is more from a marketing standpoint, but like they were still having to use proven principles of psychology and just using AI to like build the funnels and everything and whatnot. I guess to give context, my concern was there were no rules. Like one of my mentors was like, systematic assumptions have changed. A systematic assumption is like all the rules that people like know or don't necessarily state are no longer true. And I was looking at like Lovable becoming $1 billion company in 8 months, or Bolt.new doing like 30 million in ARR in like 2 months. Like to the topic of like amplification, I actually think it just gives from a business standpoint, it's unlocked like an element of quantum scaling, because you can do more reps. Like the business that used to have 1 winning advertisement can now have 1,000, or an affiliate army of where they were capped by people, they can now build one with AI. Like I think there's some very interesting, I think we're going to see a lot of companies like quantum scale using like AI tech enabled stuff across advertising, across cold outbound, across like you name it. I think it's very exciting. I think it's exciting now, like having locked myself in a room and try to understand what does it mean.
Well, dude, this has been incredible. I could sit here and talk to you all day.
Thank you.
I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of all the knowledge that's in that head of yours.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up with the most important question.
Okay.
which is, should people sign up with my affiliate link for Alex Hormozi's new book launch?
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm kidding, that wasn't the most important question. You're a bit of a hermit online. You don't have a big personal brand or anything. So if anyone wants to find you, if they want to reach out, if they want to connect, they want to pay you for consulting or whatever, where can they reach you? Where's the best place?
The best place would be my LinkedIn, but I'm not taking on consulting. Again, like a reason I potentially, just a method of approach that I've done is like focused on the task at hand or the thing in front of me. And when I left acquisition, I did start taking on some other consulting stuff. And I don't think I can create a level of impact working across like 5 other different things versus just going all on one. So yeah, you can reach me on LinkedIn, but I don't do consulting. So I'm sorry, I'm not in the marketplace.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We want to follow your journey, check you out. LinkedIn's the best place.
Yeah.
And hopefully you do some more podcasts in the future as well.
Yeah, I will be. Like, again, to get an edge in AI, leaning into humanity and going on podcasts as part of that. So yeah, I'd recommend anyone who's interested in like getting above AI to start building a personal brand.
Killer. Dude, thank you so much.
Thanks
for our time.
Yeah.